Hello, it's Down Home with Tina. I am your host, Tina Thompson, and it is great to be with you, and I'm so excited about the guests that I have coming up this half hour. But before I get to them, how are you guys doing? I hope that you are just hanging in there. We're all adjusting to this new norm of the way that things are. And I know that kids are getting ready to, I don't even know, I know it just changes from week to week. Go back to school. I think 1 week in a couple of the schools is remote, and it can always change. But either way, I just hope that you're all keeping safe and you're doing what you have to do to get through this and adjust the best way that you can. So coming up this hour, I have Assistant Chief KJ Watts. He is at a little hour in the show. And my first guest, and coming up right here in just a minute, is a fella who he and his wife purchased a home, and it is where we are on location. And his name is Rich Harris, and I'm really excited to have him to find all about what they have going on at the premises on the Henry Manor. So stick around to hear that. And guys and gals, I also have something coming up at the end of the show. I have done a project, and it is because I was trying to find something to purchase. And I'm telling you, I looked and looked and looked, because people say, well, if you can't find it in the stores, go online. I can't, honestly, I'm not lying. I can't tell you how many hours I have spent looking online for this specific item. So I decided to make it, and I'm going to share that with you, and what I did, and how I did it, and how it turned out, and my first experience of doing something like that many years ago. We're going to get all to that here coming up here on the Down Home with Tina show. I'll be back in just a minute with Rich Harris, the Henry Manor.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm a recovering addict. For 10 of the last 11 years, I've been struggling with addiction, homelessness, incarceration, and just loneliness. However, since getting clean this past year, I've accomplished more than I have in those 10 years combined. After attending outpatient counseling services, inpatient counseling services, living in a sober living house, and attending 12-step meetings, I've been able to regain control of my life and begin to achieve goals I've always dreamed of. Addiction can destroy lives in many ways. Whether you need help with childcare or financial assistance, everyone deserves a new beginning. Recovery supports are just that, supports for recovery. My life mattered. Your life matters too.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Hey folks, it's Down Home with Tina. I have with me now, his name is Rich Harris. He and his wife Deborah took over ownership of the Henry Manor. I think was it just a couple of years ago?
2016.
2016, so yeah, not long ago. And that is where we are hanging out today in the gazebo on the grounds of the Henry Manor, and I'm really excited to have you, Rich. This is really cool. It's a beautiful day.
It is.
He said, it's not raining, we're in shade, and it's not 90.
It's only 82.
That's right. Only 82 as we've got the fan going. And no, it's a beautiful day. It is gorgeous out here. I know I had the opportunity to come out and hang out with you a little bit and get to see, was it all of the grounds that you have here?
Most of it, because we have 9 acres here. So you saw just right around the house property here.
Yeah. So it is gorgeous. And tell everybody a little bit about the history.
Well, for those that don't know, it was built in 1869, originally by the Peters family, and then sometime after that, the Henry family purchased the home and renamed it the Henry Manor, and it's been known for many years as the Henry Manor. When my wife and I purchased it in 2016, even though our last name is Harris, we had no need to rename, because it had such an iconic figure in Fairfield County that we wanted to leave it and continue to build on the legacy that the former owners had had.
What are some of the things that when folks come out here that they're going to see?
Well, I mean, as you can see behind us here, just natural beauty. The first time we looked at this place, we were just in awe. The grounds were just, spectacular. Right in the middle of the city, but it still has that country feel.
Absolutely.
So by the time we actually made our way into the home itself, we were just hoping and praying that it was at least livable, because we knew we wanted to buy this place. And it was so well taken care of on the inside that we were just very happy to see all the TLC that had gone into it over the years.
Now, right from the start, did you know it was something that you wanted to make as an event center?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, we were specifically looking all over the country for the perfect property where we could host different events in an outdoor setting, something that was family fun. And we saw this place not long after moving to the Columbus area, and came out and looked at it, and made an offer the same day, and we're the lucky ones to be able to buy it.
Oh, good for you. What is it that you offer as far as the services for here?
Well, so we do a little bit of everything. In the last couple of years, we started focusing more on the wedding industry. So we do single day and weekend experience for weddings. We also host bridal showers or baby showers. Any other celebration that someone wants to have, we offer a 4-hour rental, and then our single day is up to 12 hours. And then, of course, our weekend rental is Friday at 10 a.m. all the way through Sunday at about 2 p.m.
What are some of the unique things that folks will get when they rent the Henry Manor because of the house? I got to see the house, and
Yes.
it's just so gorgeous.
So my wife and I made the decision to offer the house as a whole for each of our rentals, and we did not want to double book events. We wanted people to, experience the manor, or the magic of the manor, as we call it, as we did when we lived here. So when someone rents the Henry Manor, they get the entire 3,100 square foot manor, the entire 9-acre property, and then all the tables and chairs that they might need for their event. And then you'll also get either myself or one of our venue managers just to help out as a coordinator through the day.
Sure. So do you cater events yourself, or do you have folks who decide to rent your premises?
Well, so what makes us unique compared to some of the other vendors in the area or venues in the area is that we have no restrictions. So we do not provide catering on site, but we also do not restrict someone. They can bring in any vendor that they choose.
Okay.
So it's pretty rare in the venue industry.
Yeah. So what is your very favorite thing about the Henry Manor, Rich?
Just taking a look at the property itself, it's like stepping back in time. It really is. Every time I come back here, now that we don't live on the property, I'm just amazed that it's ours and that we get to share it with everyone else in the community.
Yeah. Are you planning on making any kind of upgrades to it, or are you going to keep it the way that it is as best you can?
Well, we're restoring things the best we can. However, we do have a 5 to 10 year master plan on not restoring but adding on. So we will be adding some colored concrete in the back area here to better facilitate tables and chairs, and then if people want to use tents. But we are going to be continually adding on to the deck. We've got some painting going on right behind us here, and just making it more and more beautiful for the people that would like to come here and use it.
I really loved it because when I got to tour the home, it's like an entire family and the wedding couple, if they wanted to, or the wedding couple by themselves, and then they can stay in the home
And
during
that's,
the weekend.
yes, one of our
Right.
other differentiating factors is the fact that up to 12 people can sleep on site on the manor for even the night or the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So that's included in our package pricing.
Yeah.
So we don't charge anything extra for that.
I just think that is something that's really cool. And also, you do have the walking trail that you have on the grounds for folks that can walk through.
We do.
and see.
That's one of the improvements that we'd like to do in future years, is to actually, make like a wooden boardwalk, out through the trails.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have a nice loop around the 6.5 acres behind us over here, so that people can get out there and just walk the trails and be in nature.
And it truly is like a nice, peaceful, and y'all can hear it. I mean, we're
Yeah.
sitting out here recording. We can't get better than explaining it, than
Right.
getting to see it.
You gotta be
and
here
hear
to
it.
experience it,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. But it is just absolutely gorgeous. So, anything else that you wanted to share about the Henry Manor that we didn't touch on before we get to military? Because you're a veteran and I can go on for hours.
We can go on for hours.
that, Rich.
No, I mean, just if you're looking for the indoor-outdoor experience for less than 200 people, the Henry Manor can't be beat with our prices and what we actually offer for our customer service it's just we encourage people to come out and take a tour for themselves and
Yes.
see if the space will work for you.
And you have Facebook and a website, correct?
We do. HenryManorEvents.com, or you can find us on any of the social media with /the Henry Manor.
Awesome. So it was the funniest thing when we first met and you were giving me a little tour of the home and the grounds in the area here. I think you must have watched my first show and you knew I was in the military. Is
I
that how
did.
it came off?
I was
And then-
I was stalking on you, yes.
That's okay, because I had to find out a little bit about you, and I knew,
Sure.
I was like, Deborah, your wife, and all that, just to know exactly, yeah. So I love what you guys are doing, first of all, and I think it's really great that you're offering this to our community. And anyways, so military. How many years were you in the military? Are you still in the military?
I'm still in, so I'm going on 17 years. It was a combination of active duty Marine Corps back in the 90s. Took a 9-year break in service while I lived out in Nevada. And then I joined the Army National Guard in 2008. Commissioned as an officer in 2010. So I figured 2 to 3 more years until I can retire.
Did you start out enlisted, did you say?
I did. I was enlisted for 6 years and then became an officer when I wanted to start all over again. I had
started all over
I did. I had my
again.
bachelor's degree done by then, so I figured if I'm going back in after all these years, I might as well start as an officer and choose a different path this time.
And what's it been like the second round for you, I guess?
It's been different because as an adult, I had joined for the second time at 31 years old, and being older than everybody, I had a different perspective. Being a business owner for so long, I had a different perspective. But I think being prior enlisted and then turned officer, it gives me that vantage point so that I know what everyone has to go through, and
Yeah.
I'm willing to do it myself.
Yeah.
So people respect that, and I think that it just makes me a
Yes.
better whole, well-rounded officer.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And I don't know how many folks that I have even met and have known that have done that were enlisted and they have gone into
There's quite a
being,
few.
Yeah, into being an officer, and they do. And they say just exactly what you said. They say we have an understanding of what it was like to have been that one cleaning.
You think twice
Cleaning the
before
latrine
giving
and-
that dirty work out. You have to think twice.
That's right. Yeah, no, I love it. So what is your very favorite down home moment, Rich?
About 2 years ago, when we were living here on the property, we took our son, who then was about 4 years old, down to the giant Letters for Santa mailbox.
Oh, yes.
That was
Oh,
downtown
yes.
Lancaster. It was such a blast watching him get so excited, and I lifted him up so he could put his letter in, and just a memory that is going to last forever.
That's
it was
right.
awesome to see that.
Absolutely. Folks, I hope that you get the honors and pleasures of meeting Rich Harris yourself, and that you'll come out for a tour of the Henry Manor. They've got so many different services that you can check out on his website, on his Facebook page. And I have got coming up with me, I'm excited because I haven't had him yet, I haven't had others from the Lancaster Fire Department, is Assistant Chief KJ Watts with the Lancaster Fire Department. And you're watching Down Home with Tina. I'll be back in just a minute.
Dagger Law has been part of the Lancaster community for more than 110 years. This is where we live and work. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and all around town. We consider our clients as friends, and we walk alongside you through challenging times. Whether you're a growing business, a changing family, facing litigation, planning your future, or dealing with land issues, we're right here. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced. Dagger Law.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I'm really excited with the guest that I have today. I've been trying to get him on for I don't know how long. Oh my gosh, I just realized this. So Chief Ward, I've got with me Assistant Chief of Lancaster Fire Department, KJ Watts. And so Chief Ward said to me, I just realized this, it's about time I got to be on your show. And I'm saying to you, it's about time you came on the show. I'm so kidding. You are. And it was really great because you have worked with me in the past to highlight different firefighters,
Correct.
medics, and in this case it was Captain Banjoff.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, he just recently got promoted, and I thought it was great to get his face out there to
Yeah.
have people meet him and have you meet him, and
Yeah.
I appreciate the offer for me to come on.
Absolutely. It's always great to have somebody from the Lancaster Fire Department. So You recently, well, how long ago was it? Just would have been April.
First week of April. First
It-
3 weeks of April, I'm going to call it now, yeah.
I know that we're not going to get into it in too much detail, but you actually had COVID.
I did. I tested positive for COVID-19 on April 3rd is when I tested positive, but I was sick for the week before that, so yeah, it was shocking and weird and horrible.
Were you just one of those folks that you were just going to keep on trucking until
I
it
was.
actually took you down?
I was. I mean, for COVID, all what we were worried about coming to Lancaster and what we needed to do to protect our employees and make sure that we were ready to respond to the community. And I think in the end of March, there was a heightened sense of the hospitals were going to be overwhelmed and we were going to be overwhelmed. And I was trying to do everything with our EMS captain and other personnel to get ready for it. And I just thought I was exhausted. And then as day went by, then I was like, I think I'm sick, you know. So I went and got tested, and then went downhill after that for a few weeks, and now I'm a survivor, I guess.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
that.
well, definitely, no doubt. And it is something that, with everything that's been going on in the last several months, we're trying to get to a new norm, and it's asking folks to just be safe.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what's most important also
is.
with our first responders
Yeah.
as well. You guys at the fire department, so you have had to definitely take different measures and steps and
Right.
procedures during this process. So what are you guys doing?
So in the beginning, it was really hard to find the proper PPE. We weren't ready. Our suppliers weren't ready. So we had to figure out ways to reuse PPE that we probably shouldn't have, you know, in any normal pandemic. So Battelle up in Columbus came up with a new process on how to sanitize our masks, and we got involved in that. And our local EMA, Fairfield County EMA, helped us transition and count a lot of our PPE to figure out how much we needed, and they sourced it for us. We worked with the hospital. So finding the PPE to protect our folks to go out there and change the way we respond to runs really was a huge effort to overcome and figure out how that new norm is going to work, you know. I mean, it used to be we'd send 3 paramedics to a 911 call, and they'd all get out of the truck and walk into a house and say, hey, what's going on? With COVID, we now have to send one guy masked up and figure out what's going on, and then the reinforcements come after that to make sure that there are no signs and symptoms, or, you know, that they're ready with their PPEs.
Oh, wow, yeah. Well, and you just made me remember something. It was a couple of weeks ago. I had moved into a new house, and I'm upstairs, and I'm getting ready for bed, and I hear bang, bang, bang on my door. And I'm thinking, who is here? And I look out, and it was the Fairfield County Sheriff's Department. They were out on my sidewalk. Why
Yeah.
were they? And then
Yeah.
even when I went to the door, you know, she was back a little
Staying
bit,
back.
and it didn't even dawn on me, you know, that
Yeah.
they were. I was just kind of like, oh my goodness, why
Yeah.
are you at my house? What are you doing here? But that's it.
Yeah.
It is because they are just taking those measures of
Precautions,
making
yeah.
and precautions
Yeah,
of
yeah.
being safe.
Yeah.
So how has it been working for
Pretty
everybody?
good. I mean, in the beginning, I think a lot of our employees, there wasn't this reality to it, right? And at one point in the beginning, we had 10 of our personnel off sick, and for a department the size of Lancaster's, that's a huge hit. And our overtime was through the roof, and because you still have to put so many people on the street to do this job, and so that was the big thing. And I think once people started telling stories, and that's why I wanted to get my story out way back when I did, is so if anything, first responders and other folks look how serious this is, and do the things, the hand washing and the social distancing and wearing the masks, you know, so we can keep on doing what we do for the community, because losing 10 people for us was 10% of our department.
Oh, wow.
It was a huge impact to us.
Absolutely. You know, and somebody for like myself, KJ, I like to think that, because I say that, oh, I must have a good immune system and this and that, but I think part of what it has always been for myself, I've always been one to wash my hands,
Yeah.
not touch my face.
Right.
I've never bit my
Same.
nails.
Yep.
I don't do any, you know, that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Right.
If I get in the car, I've even always had hand sanitizer, I guess, now that I think about it, for years,
Yep.
sitting in my car. If I go somewhere, I've always been very careful.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that we still can't get it. But if you
Right.
take those extra
Yeah.
yeah,
Extra
precautionary measures
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the mask and things like that.
Yeah.
Are you guys seeing more calls then also
So
right now with
it
it?
was the reverse
Or-
of what we thought it was going to be. Our call volume went down 30% during the stay-at-home order, and I think it's because people just weren't going out doing stuff.
Right.
People were scared to go to the hospital for fear they might get COVID there, for the normal things that they would call us for. So our run volume went down 30% through March, April, May, and just probably the beginning of June when things started kind of opening back up full bore. We're back to our normal levels before COVID, and then we're starting about 2-3 weeks ago, because we keep very close tabs on our runs and what type they are, and our COVID runs are actually spiking now, and we're seeing that a lot in nursing homes and people calling and pretty severe runs.
What are you all telling folks who you are getting these runs for when you go to their home? What is the procedure protocol right now for them?
So it starts with us when the dispatcher takes the 911 call, and the dispatcher has a pre-screening list, the checklist that they have to ask them. If they have fevers, if they've traveled anywhere that's have a spike area like Florida or whatever, and what are their signs and symptoms. And if it's anywhere on the list of things that we've given them, they'll tell us over the radio, hey, PPE response. Okay. So we know to get all gowned up and ready and go in with everything we have. And so from that perspective, we are protected, and then we'll go in and do all the treatment that we normally do, and take them to the hospital. We transfer that information to the hospital, and then we track it internally on our documentation to make sure everybody fills out exposure reports and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So you do take them,
Yep.
take them on in.
Yep.
You don't just say get back to bed.
No.
Okay. Yeah, because I hadn't asked anybody and I wasn't quite sure. So
No,
I thought,
yeah.
Good.
For us, if somebody wants to go to the hospital, we take them to the hospital. And there's a whole nother level of if we feel that you need to go, you should go, So, but yeah, the way we do our service, if somebody wants to go to the hospital, we're going to take them to the hospital.
Well, good, and thank you to all of what you guys do and keep on doing, guys and gals. So you have something coming up in November that you wanted to talk about.
Yes, so we're putting the income tax increase on the ballot again. This will be the third time. We started it last fall, and then it failed, and then they put it on again in the springtime, which got stretched out because of COVID and ended up, I don't think the vote was until April, but so it's going to go on again, and we are in desperate need of a new revenue stream. It's tight. It was going to be tight regardless of COVID. This doesn't really replace what COVID, the impact of COVID on our economy has, but it's tight. Run volume is ever increasing, 10-20% run volume increase every year. Wow. The cost of doing business, which is a lot of people don't see today versus 10 years ago, is a lot more. All the technology behind what we do and how we map out how to get to a location, or how our fire trucks work, or all of that is increased cost that we, it's just how you do business. And so we're looking for a new revenue stream to increase the income tax, and it's a safety forces levy. So the bulk of this revenue stream will go to police and fire, because we are 75%, 80% of the general fund, and that's where that money's going to go.
Okay, nice. So you know what he's asking you to do, folks.
Yes, please support us.
That's right. Yeah.
Please.
So KJ, what is your favorite down home moment?
I would say, so listen, my last name is Watts, and my dad was a captain on the fire department 23 years before I got here. So for 44 years now, there's been a Watts in the fire department. And I can remember an Easter when I was probably about 6, maybe 7 years old, where my sister and I went, and my mom took us down and went to visit my dad on Easter because he worked holidays. And there was a picture that was snapped of us standing in front of the fire truck with my dad in his uniform, and I recreated that picture about 5 or 6 years ago with my kids, and it was pretty cool. So that would be my favorite down home moment, because it's the same fire department, same firehouse, and
you're there. It gave me goosebumps.
Yeah,
I love hearing those
cool
stories. That is awesome. Yeah, folks, hopefully KJ will come back at another time.
Absolutely.
He is the assistant chief in the Lancaster Fire Department, and do what you can to do that and support them. And I'm Tina with Down Home with Tina, and I'm going to be back here in just a minute with a story.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster, and we fell in love with the downtown area, where the fountain is, and the memorials, and the flags, and all this stuff. And I looked around and I said, there's our bank right there.
there's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live.
Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. The employees are happy here, they're conversant, customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey y'all, it's Down Home with Tina. Down Home with Tina is brought to you by the Fairfield Area Humane Society, Huddle Tire Company, The Frame Shop, Fairfield Area Humane Society, and where we are on the premises of the Henry Manor. You can view Down Home with Tina by going to YouTube, CLN, Your Hometown Connection, Spectrum 1021, that is a CLN channel, and you can watch it Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 10 a.m., 4 p.m., and 7 p.m. And you can also check out my Facebook page, very easy, Down Home with Tina. And I also have a website, and I like to share my blog on my website, also on my Facebook page, but my website is also Down Home with Tina. My blog just consists of I like to have some fun stories. I'll get to talking a little more about down home stuff, baking and cooking a little bit. I don't love to cook, but of course I gotta cook because I've had to feed my family for many years, and myself, of course. But also other do-it-yourself type of projects. I've been kind of diving into a little bit of that, but we'll get to that on the blog and maybe other avenues. You're gonna wanna keep watching Down Here with Tina and see where that might go. But my latest project, okay, so when I was in 3rd grade, I think it was, my grandmother, who I've talked about so often, she was what you call like our supervisor. She oversaw me and my sister do a 4-H project, and it was cooking and sewing. And so that's where I know that cooking wasn't so great. But she taught us how just to sew this little halter top. And so I think that's where it actually was instilled in me. Now my grandmother, she made my cousin's dresses for her, I think it was her wedding dress, and her bridesmaids' dresses and such. However, I have never done anything quite that extravagant, but it would have been, I think in my early 20s, that I decided I wanted to make a dress. So I went to the fabric store and I got this pattern and some fabric, and I took it back, got my first sewing machine, and I started to make this dress. So I got all the way to the very end, and then it was time to do the hem. Let's just say that I never got to wear the dress because I couldn't figure out how to do the hem. So what I ended up doing was never wearing it, and it just went away. Put a lot of time and work into it. So this past year, since I started the Down Home with Tina show, in the very beginning, I purchased a couple of skirts that I just loved. And that's where I was talking about I've spent so much time trying to find these dresses or these skirts again, and I couldn't. So I decided that I would just make my own pattern. I couldn't even find a pattern. So I made my very own pattern, you all. And so therefore, I made my very own skirt. And that is the skirt that you see on today's show. So with that being said, I just want to tell you, don't be afraid to try something new. If you want to take up sewing, it's really not hard. I couldn't figure out something with my sewing machine, so thank goodness for YouTube. I finally figured out, and that's what helped me to make my skirt. So now I'm going to make as many skirts as I want with my very own pattern, and I'm very excited about it. So hopefully that will encourage you if there's a project or something. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching Down Home with Tina. I will be back with you next week, and I've got another great group of guests, a couple of guests that are going to come on and talk to me. One fella's going to talk about animals, and the other person is going to talk with me because he is in an awesome Christian motorcycle club. So I'm continuing to bring great and fun stuff right here on Down Here with Tina. God bless to you. Good day.